One more race in Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe and championships to be decided here in the sunshine at Jerez. The grid is forming up, ready to determine who is going to win in the Pro class, the all-important final 50 minutes of the season. And can Vito Postiglione finally take a championship that he's been battling for really the last 4 seasons? He's come so close year after year, and it's always been denied him. And even on the last lap of the previous race, there was an incident that put him under investigation, along with his co-driver Kiko Galbiati. Can Postiglione finally take the crown? Well, he's looking pretty strong as we get ready for this last race of the season. It's been another very competitive year of Super Trofeo Europe, and the grid is forming behind me ready for the last race. 50 minutes, mandatory pit stops between 20 and 30. And Vito Postiglione comes here with a 3-point deficit, along with Kiko Galbiati, against Dani Cruz and Sergei Afanasiev, who, admittedly, they did outscore in the earlier race. Also in the earlier race, we had a drama on the last lap after a safety car. Mikko Eskelinen had brake failure in 5th gear, sizable accident, and it's done the chassis in the car that he shares with the Welsh driver Jake Rattenbury. So they are missing from this grid for race 2, but hopefully they might be able to commandeer another chassis out of the Leipert truck and be on the grid for the world final, which will be coming up tomorrow. For now, though, the grid is formed, and let's see what's going to happen in this final race of the season, with pole position going the way of Loris Spinelli. Now, Spinelli, if you follow the championship, you might think, oh, is he back? Well, he is for effectively the world final weekend only. Sharing, and this is the intrigue, with Gerard van der Horst. So the multiple Lamborghini Cup champion gets a former pro champion to drive with him, and boom, they're up to Pro-Am. So Spinelli, very quick indeed in the qualifying session, and he lines up on pole position. David Addison trackside. Down on the grid is Marietta Evans. Let's, before we go racing, Marietta, catch up with some of the drivers.
So, Loris, you might not be a regular face in this championship, but with your vast experience, nobody is at all surprised to see you on pole.
Yeah, I'm very happy to start in pole position. Today we did a really good job in race 1, and now so we have race 2, and I try to save the tires for my mate, and we try to improve a really good result for the finish of the race.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Loris Spinelli, who was the champion in 2017 with Mikael Grenier. They won that at Imola in a dramatic weekend. It's been a dramatic season, and so Loris Spinelli lines up on pole position. Now, with him on the front of the grid is another of the interlopers, in a sense, another returnee, Jonathan Cecotto, who shares with Frederick Schandorf, used to be co-driver too, if you remember, Vito Postiglione. And he, Cecotto, and Frederick Schandorf won the first race earlier on in the day. Second row of the grid, Karol Bash, who also has a return and a new co-driver. Rather than Bartosz Pawliecki, who he was driving with, it's the fellow Pole, Andrzej Lewandowski, and they are in Pro-Am. And then alongside them, Stuart Middleton and Jack Bartholomew, who were penalised for jumping the safety car restart and therefore dropped from 2nd to 3rd in race 1. So that takes you back to the 3rd row of the grid, where Kiko Galbiati will start in number 44, the car that he shares with Vito Postiglione. And Kiko Galbiati is not only behind the wheel, but ready to talk to Marietta.
So, Kiko, you are in front of your rivals, but they are behind you on the grid, but they are in front of you in the championship, and everything is very, very close. So how are you approaching this race?
Yeah, of course, I'm front for this race. I have only to keep pushing and try to catch more position I can, and to stay more in the front than the car number 3. Thank you.
And Vito Postiglione will do the second stint. Kiko Galbiati really first came to prominence when he came to the World Finals in Valencia, going back to, what, 2016. And he did a great job, and to the Pro-Am car. And actually, although he and Vito Postiglione have had 4 wins, I think people rather expected they'd dominate the season this year. The opposition, 3 points ahead then as we get ready going into this next race, is the car of Dani Cruz and Sergei Afanasiev, and it will be Sergei Afanasiev who is behind the wheel for the first stint. So he finished race 1, he will start race 2, the experienced Russian single-seater turned GT driver. And Sergei Afanasiev is for this race, going to start on row 4, so directly behind Kiko Galbiati, from whom we have just heard. Let's hear from Sergio before he goes rushing around.
So that's it. Everything is very close. How are you guys feeling?
Well, we're feeling well. I mean, we know we have the speed, so we just have to see how it goes after the first corner.
Thank you very much.
Danny Cruz, that was in fact. Sergio Afanasiev has decided he's so focused, doesn't want to be bothered now. Thank you very much. So 3 points is the margin between them going into this race. Sergio Afanasiev, Danny Cruz, they're his Dutch co-driver. Danny new to the cars this year. Sergio Afanasiev has driven in Pro and Pro-Am for a couple of 3 seasons now, but Danny Cruz, as a real rookie, has done a great job this year. 3 victories, both of the wins at Zandvoort were theirs, and then they had a further one at Spa, so been a good season. Grid being cleared, there is number 6, that's the Andrzej Lewandowski car, and he shares that with Karol Bash. Karol Bash will start. That's Lewandowski just crouched down by the side of the car, looking very relaxed about this, not yet in his overalls. Others are in their overalls all psyched up, others leaving it to the last minute. There are even 1 or 2 drivers on the grid busy taking pictures of other cars. The one gap is where we don't have 33. As I say, the Mikko Eskelinen car, we do have Robert Zvinger's car, which is good, and that's worth a point because he was involved in quite a sizable accident. In fact, was brought out the safety car. There's the Pro-Am champ, Shotrab Kazava, the Georgian impresario, racer, circuit owner, team owner, championship promoter. And the Latvian Harold Schlegelmilch is behind the wheel. Harold, who got as far as Formula 2, the MSV run Formula 2 type category, and then stopped racing for a while, disappeared from the scene, came back doing a bit of club rallying, and then was tempted into Super Trofeo and has gone well, drove on his own at the Nürburgring in one race when Shotrab Kazava had to dash off for family reasons. So the grid is cleared of the mechanics other than around the Franz Conrad car, number 11. There's a bit of attention at the front of that car. You're looking down on the grid now. There's 32 with Stuart Middleton starting. Jack Bartholomew will walk off the grid. But number 11, which is a couple of rows behind it, is the one that's giving the concern. I think most people are happy around it, but still 1 or 2 rather furrowed brows overlook the Conrad entry, which is the turquoise roof you can just see near the front of the grid there. There it is. But as I say, we've had quite a few engineers around that for quite a while. There is Franz Conrad himself, former Nürburgring 24-hour winner, Austrian Formula 3 champion, and Group C Jaguar driver, great enthusiast Franz Conrad, for many, many years a mainstay of Porsche Super Cup racing. Came back into GT racing rather than single brand events in Blancpain a few years back, but while that was on the same bill as Super Trofeo, he decided he'd have a Lamborghini fleet as well, and has joined a different family. But Franz Conrad with the traditional Bio Circle sponsorship on the car, possibly all not well. By this stage, there is 1 engineer at every car other than the Conrad entry, and the fact that there are more people there, A, makes you think there's a problem, and B, makes you wonder whether penalty may come, even because you've got more than the allowed number of people at the 1 minute board. However, let's see. 50 minutes this race will be, and the 1 minute board now shown, so everybody is good to go. And we'd like an answer to that as well, please, before the end of the day. So fans who have arrived en masse this afternoon. It was a pretty empty Jerez on a Friday morning, but as the day has gone on and the sun has burst through, people have left work or at siesta time, popped down the road, and it's going to get busier and busier over the weekend. Of course, the number of Lamborghini owners and VIPs swells. There are not just the races, but the manufacturer laps and the auto test area. Lots of activities around the circuit for people to avail themselves of, as well as this annual festival of Lamborghini racing comes to Spain this year. Comes back to Spain, really, because we've been to Vallelonga, to Laguna Seca, to Sepang, to Valencia, then to Imola, last year Vallelonga, now to Jerez. And next year is set to be Misano as well. So here the field turns through, and let's look at the grid then, with Loris Spinelli lining up on pole position in Gerard van der Horst's car. With him at the front of the grid will be Jonathan Cecotto. The name in yellow is the start driver for this race. In the second row of the grid is Karol Bash lining up alongside Stuart Middleton, who lost a place in the earlier race, that penalty for overtaking before the restart. The third row of the grid is where you find Kiko Galbiati alongside Harold Schlegelmilch, and then on the fourth row of the grid, Sergei Afanasiev lining up alongside newcomer Vincent Schwartz, driving the car of the Conrad team. Schwartz will hand over to Axel Jeffries, the Zimbabwean driver. On the fifth row is where you find, first up, Raffaele Giannoni in number 96. He's another of the AMs. And then the shared pro car of Niels Lagrange and Anthony Lambert lining up alongside. So Raffaele Giannoni doing a really good job to get ahead there of a pro car in qualifying. Next on the grid should have been Mikko Eskellinen's car, but that will be missing from the grid. So there's a gap, but we do have instead the car of Davide Venditti and Nicola Gomar. Robert Zvinga will be on the grid alongside the Eskelinen-Rattenbury hole, as it were. Jakob Noll starts 66th with Joseph Collado lining up alongside him. And then Stephen Licorice, former Mini racer in the UK and Porsche racer in the UK, who's been in and out of Super Trofeo for a couple of seasons. He will share with Jack Butel, and Stephen Licorice starting on the 9th row with the Père et Fils Semelins alongside, and it is Benoit Semelin who will start in that car. Then you've got Fidel Live, number 51. Now, Live also had a brake drama with his Liebherr car. Different problem from 33, but it was a great problem nonetheless. And so that car is with a brake system change driving up on the 10th row with Gregor Machulski for company in number 21, the car that he will share with Rafael Michrut. Then on the penultimate row, Oliver Freimuth and Superchai Wirabor-Wampong. There he is, number 71 goes through. And the back of the grid, Hans Fabry and Libor Dvoracek in the car that he shares with Kurt Wagner. That's how they will line up. That then is the grid. The one hole is where 33 is missing. And now the field starts to make its way up towards the rolling start. If the race director, Daniele Gagliardi, is happy that everybody is where they need to be, will go racing. The two championships up for grabs, the Lamborghini Cup, which is the Semelins ahead of Jose Collado by 6 points, and 3 points separating the Cruz Afanasiev number 3 against 44 of Postiglione and Galbiati, as the final round of the European Championship is go. Good start by Spinelli, not a great start by Cecotto. A good start also made by Karol Bash, and he might be useful to get in the way rather of the Bonaldi car and help his target, his Imperiali Racing teammates rather, Galbiati and Postiglione. Kiko Galbiati has not made a great start, you've got to say. He's mired in traffic, although he is keeping Danny Cruz, Sergei Afanasiev's car at bay. The Russian driver Afanasiev is up behind him, but right now it's Spinelli that leads the way into turn 4. Afanasiev challenges on the inside line. Does he go through? Not quite. Middleton runs out wide, kicks up the dirt as they get to the first sector. Spinelli leads then. Second, it is Bash, and the start is under investigation right away. So you've got Spinelli leading Bash, Schlegelmilch's up to 3rd, Cecotto is 4th, Middleton is 5th, Galbiati 6th. But if one or two drivers were a little bit anticipatory at the start, then you can anticipate penalties to come. There, number 30 around the outside line is Niels Lagrange, runs it up the curb and back on again as he drops into the traffic behind Sergei Afanasiev. There is the car of Vincent Schwartz. That's dropped back a little bit off the start as well. So the field accelerates through for the first time, and Wirabor-Wampong is in strife, and that wheel looks damaged to me, the right rear. Just look at the rim at the top left of the wheel. I think the tyre has gone down, but the wheel's damaged. And Superchai Wirabor-Wampong, who's doing the Asian as well as the European race, he's just retired from the earlier Asian round, hasn't lasted very long either in this race, very, very sadly indeed. So Superchai Wirabor-Wampong limps back to the pit lane as we are heading up towards the end of lap 1. This is the run behind the paddock, up from turns 12 to 13 into the Curva Lorenzo, out of which here comes then Harold Schlegelmilch leading in Pro-Am. Comes over the timing line, but it's Spinelli up front, Bash 2nd, Schlegelmilch 3rd, and then 4th will be Cecotto, the leading pro. 5th is Middleton, 6th is Galbiati, 7th is Afanasiev, 8th Lagrange, 9th Schwartz, 10th Raffaele Giannoni. So Giannoni doing a very good job there, getting ahead of some of the pros and Pro-Am cars, including Davide Venditti, whose car started the year in Pro-Am, was recategorised. That's Oliver Freimuth going through. Freimuth at the end of the opening lap is in 19th place as the cars now power their way up towards turn 1:35 on this second lap of the race. One slow there, that is Schwarz. Is it possibly with a problem? Through there goes 89, which is Nicolas Gomar, but one very slow car coming into view, and no, it could be Cecotto, in fact, who's dropped back. Jonathan Cecotto has gone a missing from the timing screen. So there is Schwarz. He is losing places, number 11. But Jonathan Cecotto was running in 4th place, and that car is down in 13th, looking at the timing screen. So Cecotto may have dramas, assuming it's not just a transponder glitch. We'll check at the end of the lap. Weerabourwampong has got to the pit lane. Escalona never started, and Spinelli has the advantage on track as they work lap 2 then, coming up towards the approach at now the Senna chicane. That's 30. Niels Lagrange going through in 7th place. There, number 3, Sergei Afanasiev on the back of Kiko Galbiati. Bad news for Galbiati. He wants more cars between him and his rivals. The MTech squad goes to work. New wheel for Superchai Weerabourwampong. See the damage to the bodywork, but that could be either ripped off or taped up. He's about to go a lap down, though. Over the timing line goes the leader, Spinelli. 2nd is Bash, 3rd is Schlegelmilch, 4th is Middleton, 5th is Galbiati, 6th is Afanasiev, 7th is Lagrange, 8th is Schwarz, 9th is now Giannoni, and 10th is Gomar. So that means that Cecotto does indeed have a problem, and the race 1 winners have dropped a long way down the order. Cecotto into the pit lane. Giannoni under attack from Gomar. That is for the AM Cup lead as they drop downhill. Robert Zwinger is 3rd behind them. Vincent Schwarz lost ground a little lap ago, but he's now coming back in 8th place at Niels Lagrange. Schwarz new to this circuit, of course. Now here's a replay of the start. This is being looked at by the officials to see if anybody accelerated before they should have done. Diving to one side look goes Harold Schlegelmilch. And does that mean that he was out of position? There are some race directors that want you to follow in line formation rather than jinking out left and right. Others don't mind, but that could be one of the reasons it's being looked at. There is 98, which is Loris Spinelli, the race leader. Now, with all due deference, although he might be very quick in this stint, do not anticipate Gerard van der Horst to replicate that pace. He's not as quick, and the car will fall back overall. But of course, it's the Pro-Am result that they are looking for here. Spinelli bouncing his way out of the chicane, up now towards the approach to turn 13. This will put lap 3 in the book, and Spinelli right now is getting away. Through he turns, heading up towards the timing line, and as Spinelli goes through, 2nd is Karol Bash. So actually the top 3 are all Pro-Ams at the moment. Spinelli, Van der Horst ahead of Bash and Lewandowski, and then Schlegelmilch and Abkazova, this year's champion. Stuart Middleton, therefore, with the leading pro. Now this is where it gets interesting, because that's an outside chance for the championship. Very unlikely, but an outside chance. But Kiko Galbiati is then behind. So he is currently 2nd, Galbiati. That would give them 136 points. Afanasiev is behind, 3rd in pro. That would give them 137. So right now, Afanasiev can still, with Danny Cruz, win the championship. Jonathan Cecotto's car in the pit lane, as I mentioned. So the car that won race 1, problems, discernible problems in race 2. Through their turns, number 11. That's the car of Vincent Schwarz, and that is the one I was talking about, Cecotto in the pits then. So problems for the Target Racing car. Here, really, to think about the World Final, but let's try and get to the bottom of that in due course. First of all, Marietta in the pits.
So Mika, you and your teammates should be on track today. What happened?
Yeah, we had a big accident in the first race. Last lap before hairpin, I pressed brake pedal and I have no brakes. There's something broke in the brakes and I get the wall. Something like 200 kilometers per hour. So it was a big accident and our car is broken and no chance to race today anymore.
And what about tomorrow? Will we see you back on track this week?
Let's hope that we get our car fixed.
Thank you very much. Good luck. Hopefully I'll see you tomorrow on the grid.
Yeah, thanks. Ciao.
So the Mad Croc backed Mikko Escalon, rally driver, GT racer. I'm not sure they're going to fix that car from what I'm being told, but it might be that there's a spare chassis or they can do a quick fudge on, and get a deal to broker somebody else's car, maybe. But either way, Escalanen and Jake Rattenbury missing from this race, but well found, Marietta. Good to hear from Mikko Escalanen, the much-travelled Finn who spent last year racing in the Asian series, so a lot of miles racked up to go and race in that series, as well as do some rallies. Now, at 31, Jonathan Cecotto's car has gone into the garage, I think, out of the race. And Loris Spinelli still leads here. So, right now, it is still advantage Afanasiev Cruz within the championship. Here you're looking at the line of cars that takes you through the AMs, including Raffaele Giannoni, and then also behind him is Davide Venditti, up into 10th place now. But Venditti, don't forget, is a Pro-Am at the start of the year, and then he and Alberto Di Falco were reclassified, so up to Pro. But it was a poor qualifying by Venditti, so they've got a lot of work to do here from 11th on the grid, and Venditti is chipping his way forward, having been the second driver doing the second stint in the first race. So you, in a double driver car, do a qualifying session each, and you have to start the race for which you have qualified. It therefore works out that we have this situation of the drivers starting one race, finishing another. Up front, though, Loris Spinelli is driving away. There is Raffaele Giannoni, who is the leading AM from Germark from Zwinger at the moment. Up towards turn 13 they come. So 50-minute race, the first 10 minutes almost ticked off. And the lead gap is going up and up and up. 3.5 seconds now is what Spinelli has over Karol Bash in second place. Harold Schlegelmilch runs third. And there, number 9, Davide Venditti, still 10th, hunting down Raffaele Giannoni as they round turn 1 here. Now there, Kiko Galbiati hustling on. He needs to get ahead of the Stuart Middleton, Jack Bartholomew car, the black Bonaldi entry just up the road ahead. The gap is 1.4 seconds. He's dropping away a little bit, in fact, from Stuart Middleton on this lap. Middleton is quick, we've always known that. Ginetta Junior, runner-up, GT4 champion in the British GT Championship 2 seasons ago, and a multiple race winner in European GT4 last season. So Stuart Middleton, who again is a double driver entry, shares with Jack Bartholomew, single-seater convert. They ran 4th overall, but leading the pro class at the moment. There, up the curb, goes 44. So Kiko Galbiati is pushing, pushing, pushing. Three turns. There, number 3 is Sergei Afanasiev behind him. So Sergei, who was a single-seater racer before he went into GT cars, one of the people that did the very first City Challenge in Baku event, and has concentrated on sports car GT races over the last, what, 6-7 seasons or so. So he's behind the wheel here. Afanasiev goes through, and it's Danny Cruz, the Dutchman, that will take that car over in the second stint. Out wide goes Galbiati. You can see he's absolutely on the limit here, desperately trying to push on and build that gap over Afanasiev, but also catch Middleton. He's 1.4 seconds back, but he lost a 10th against him last time. Vito Possiglione will take over that car. Is it going to be enough in the second stint with his pace and the relative pace of those around him for a championship? Lamborghini Cup at the moment, Jose Collado leading from the Semolins, but that's enough to give the Semolins the championship. On board with Cruz, down to turn 6, brakes hard, turns right. Through the hairpin, winds off the lock, blasts then now down towards turn 7 on towards the Curva Aspar. And there is Vito Possiglione, nervous. He's been here so often, last round of the championship, and he's on the back foot. He needs Galbiati, A, not to make a mistake, B, drive flat out, C, get ahead of Middleton's car. The team manager of number 12, Harold Schlegelmilch's car, to go to the race director immediately. I fear Schlegelmilch's about to be given a penalty for the way that he started, because if you remember from the replay, he pulled out of the line and went right up against the pit wall, and therefore when he accelerated was already with the clear road ahead of him. So I think Schlegelmilch is about to cop a penalty. We'll see. There, in the meantime, is Loris Spinelli. Blasts through turn 1, way out wide all over the curb. because this is predominantly a motorbike circuit these days, the curb's really low and flat, so you can use as much of them as you want. Spinelli drops down then now towards turn 4. Through he heads, under no real pressure at the moment. Loris Spinelli driving clear of the opposition here. The gap that he's got over Karol Bash, 4.7 seconds now. And then it's Harold Schlegel running in 3rd place, but there's still that potential penalty coming once the race director's had a word with the team manager. That's Karol Bash on the ragged edge as well. That car beautifully drifting its way up through turn 5. To the hairpin at 6. So Bash goes through. Schlegelmilch 3rd at the moment, Middleton 4th. But even if that car does have to serve a penalty, it doesn't particularly change the championship because it's in a different class. You get points in your class, not overall. That's Schlegelmilch's view. But is he heading for trouble? Out of turn 9 he comes then now. We're about 6.5 minutes away from the pit window opening. So the race cycles through. Down towards the chicane comes Schlegelmilch out of the chicane. Senna, this is where it blends back onto turn 11 through 12, the Curva Ferrari, and then now up towards the Curva Lorenzo, up towards the completion of the lap. Pit stop time for the 2 driver entries, remember, is 1:24 for the soloist, and there aren't many actually these days. It's 1:27. Here, over the timing line goes Schlegelmilch. That puts now lap 9 in the book as he goes up to turn 1. Schlegelmilch brakes hard and turns his way through turn 1. Now let's go back down to the pit lane. Marietta, who've you got?
So I'm here with Francois, who could win Lamborghini Cup today, and it's sort of a family affair because out on track is his brother.
Sorry, I don't understand.
I said that you are about to win in the Lamborghini Cup category today, and this is also a family thing because on track is your brother.
Yes, exactly. So it's been the first time that we entered the Lamborghini Europe Championship, and so end of the season we are still leading now at 36 minutes from the lead from the end of the race. Still a long time to go because everything can happen, but now things go as planned. So Benoit is in the car. He just has to come with the car at 2nd, 3rd position, and that's his mission. So I'm trying to follow afterwards.
And how is it to share a car with your brother?
Oh, it's a family story, as you told. So Sam Speed is a family team. We are all with our friends as mechanics and so far. We are all living in a small village, and everybody comes from the village. So it's really a social enterprise also, and we are very proud of that.
And that is a beautiful story. Thank you very much, and good luck.
The Semelins who came from Belcar, and Francois Semelin, going back to the 1990s, was a regular touring car racer, but has had a few years away, but coming back into the sport this year. So the brothers through, and we get a drive-through penalty for number 22, Kurt Wagner and Libor Dvoracek. Now 22 gets a penalty, and yet it was 12 that had to go and see the race director. A little bit surprised that it's for the car that's in 21st and last place effectively, but anyway, that's what's come up on the timing screen. I have a horrible feeling that is a mistake. It says on the timing screen drive through car 22, but I would have thought that it's for 12, not 22, seeing that there's been nothing under investigation from number 22's point of view. Oh dear. Let's see what happens next. There is car 11, Vincent Schwarz. So Schwarz' next target is Niels Lagrange, and that gap's coming down between the pair of them here. Now there is 22. That is coming in to serve its drive-through penalty, Libor Dvoracek. For why, we know not. As I say, the one that's been investigated, the team up to race control number 12, but 22, Libor Dvoracek, being given a drive-through penalty. Plot thickens here. Back into the race goes Dvoracek. And car number 12 is going to be given a 5-second penalty at the end of the race. So there is 22 rejoining. Its crime hasn't been confirmed to us, but it'll be a 5-second penalty for Schlegelmilch at the end of the race, presumably for not so much jumping the start, but being out of position at the start. The race leader, Loris Spinelli, in the meantime, clear up front. As for the Middleton, Galbiati, Afanasiev situation, that is now 1.8 between Middleton and Galbiati, and then just over a second back is Afanasiev. So it's going to be interesting this to see the relative pace in the second stint of Bartholomew, Postiglione and Cruz, because the order will shuffle, I would have thought, but I'm not sure anybody else is going to get up with them, unless it's Alberto Di Folco, who might, in number 9, be able to hustle on and take points out of that battle. We'll have to wait and see, but the second half of the race could be the more interesting here. It's almost like the first part, they're just jousting, and then it gets really serious because of the push to the end without the pit stops to worry about when you get into that second stint after the window closes. There is Loris Spinelli. He'll stay out for as long as possible, you'd expect, given that he's the quicker of the two, with Jared van der Horst as co-driver. On board with Schlegelmilch, down to the chicane, turn right, ride the curve, flick left, power, turn right again. Remember, this is the car with this 5-second penalty now. Through he goes, and the run up towards the hairpin at turn 13. That swoops you round behind the paddock, and now release down the pit straight. Now Schlegelmilch is being caught by Stuart Middleton, so the former Formula 3 racer has got the GT star behind him, Stuart Middleton, and you can see he is hustling on, kicking up the dirt. Pit window will open in half a minute's time now, so the clock gets to 30 seconds to go. And here up to turn 4 comes the fight for what is third on the road, but third in Pro-Am versus the leader of the Pro class. Very rare that you've got the leading Pro car, only fourth. And drama's there. That's the Imperiale racing car with a puncher. Now, which one is it? Is that Galbiati or is that Bash? It is Galbiati. The championship dream again seems to have gone from Vito Postiglione. The pit window opens now so they can do the tyre stop and a driver change. But this could be utter disaster yet again for Vito Postiglione, because the car has picked up a puncture somewhere. Thankfully, it is only going to have to do the one pit stop. They can get this all done within the window. But Postiglione, if he's ready, will jump on board. And big stress at Imperiale Racing. So Galbiati comes in. Postiglione is ready. So if it's a punctured tyre, could it happen to anybody else? Galbiati is distraught, walks away from the car. He knows that that's the end of the championship dream unless somebody else has a drama, and look at the state of that tyre. Now, we have had tyre dramas over the course of the day, and there it is. It's already gone pop, coming off the rim. So the car lost a huge amount of time on the in-lap. And the car's now gone a lap down while it's in the pit lane. So it didn't happen at the end of the lap. We picked it up at the end of the lap, but it was going slowly around the lap. And so the lap by Galbiati has been a very slow one indeed. In contrast, into the pit lane has just come Stuart Middleton to give way to Jack Bartholomew. And now the team gets ready for that tyre change. So Spinelli leads the way, fastest lap of the race, and so yet again, seemingly Vito Postiglione is going to be denied the chance to be the champion. And if anybody deserves it, trust me, it's Vito Postiglione, who year after year after year tries so hard, but now it's a tyre that lets him down in the last round of the championship. There is Harold Schlegelmilch still pushing on. Back into the race goes 44 then, so that is Vito Postiglione, and boy, has he got a push like never before. But if that car can pick up a tyre problem, could it happen to anybody else? Was it the way that Galbiati was driving with the pressure set too low? Who knows? What we do know is that the car is way down now. It's back in the race, but Vito Postiglione's last lap was over 4 minutes, including the pit stop, which should have been about 1 minute and 24. So it really was a very slow in-lap, the puncture happening early in the lap seemingly. So yet again, drama in Lamborghini Super Trofeo Europe, and there are now the drivers looking for the championship. Sergei Afanasiev and Danny Cruz well clear. Oliver Freimuth comes in to serve his driver change in the Baxter Piano's car. But right now, it's looking oh so good for Cruz when he takes over from number 3, Afanasiev. There in the pit lane is number 79, Joseph Collado, who's not now going to be the champion within Lamborghini Cup. Try as he might, because the Semolins are ahead. Down the pit road he goes. And there is back into the race, number 66. Now that is Josef Zaruba taking over from Jakob Knoll, and Zaruba has been much the quicker of the two this year, so that car might now start to gain ground. Loris Spinelli, race leader still, clear by 8.5 seconds from Karol Bash. So as far as the race is concerned, it's where Pro-Am will be happening that's the real drama, but for the championship we now need to be monitoring Postiglione and see where he is in relation to anybody else. He's 12 seconds back on Oliver Freimuth on the road, but where can he get the car to before the end of the race, and what, if anything, might befall others? So Loris Spinelli doing what's required of him, staying out for as long as possible, ticking off the laps, doing a really good job leading the race, building the margin over Karol Bash. 8.5 seconds now, that Pro-Am lead. Spinelli goes through. Where is second on the road Karol Bash? Let's see. Through goes 98. So the Van der Horst car heads now up through the right-hander of turn 2. There into the pit lane comes Sergei Afanasiev, so this needs to be a well-executed pit stop. Karol Bash is in as well, so second place comes in. Superchai Weeraboorwampong is back in after an earlier stop with the damage of the puncture. Hans Fabry comes in, and the pit lane gets very busy indeed now. So it means Spinelli leads Schlegelmilch, but then it'll all shuffle around behind. Karol Bash, as I say, down the pit road. This is the view of Sergei Afanasiev, and he stops at the Bonaldi pit. And that now will put Danny Cruz into the car. One out, one in. So the clock ticks along. 1 minute and 24 seconds, line to line, stationary for a minute. And let's see where this puts Afanasiev and Cruz, Danny Cruz at the wheel, relative to Bartholomew and Middleton when we get into that second stint. And indeed, now you get the slower drivers potentially in some of those Pro-Am cars that were locking out the top 3. Is that going to give the pro drivers the chance to come back into the reckoning? So away goes the bright red car of Weeraboorwampong. Out goes Lewandowski, out goes Cruz. I would have thought that that was either a very slow stop by the team of Bonaldi, a very good stop by the team from Imperiale. However, looking at the cars were released, back into the race goes Danny Cruz. I suspect Bonaldi leaving nothing to chance, so they will have erred on the side of caution. More driver changes go on. We've had into the pit lane Jack Bartholomew, Stuart Middleton's car. Jack Bartholomew now at the wheel. Gilles Vannelet rejoins the race. Clock ticks on down, as you see. And there is Vito Postiglione, who is 18th now. Fastest lap of the race, Loris Spinelli thus far. But what can Postiglione do? He is currently 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th only in class. There's also quite a bit of traffic that he's got to wriggle away through. He really needs bad luck for number 3, pure and simple. Through he goes. The next target is going to be there, 51 of Oscar Lee, the Taiwanese driver. That's one of the cars that runs in Am. And look at the way that Postiglione is attacking him, crawling all over the back as on track there goes Anthony Lombert, 77 back into the race. That now is Jack Butel. He's taken over from Stephen Licorice. Jack Butel, the quick Brit, came from driving in Formula Renault and the MSA Formula before going into LMP3 sports cars in the Speedworks car, and came to Lamborghini racing only really a couple of months ago at the Nürburgring round. Number 30 going very deep into turn 6. That is now Anthony Lambert on the back of Joseph Collado. So you've got there, intriguingly, a Lamborghini Cup car ahead of a Pro. And Lambert is making heavy weather of finding a way past. Meantime, there are drivers looking on. Karol Bash has his back to us as he looks at Andrzej Lewandowski running in 3rd place. The fight on here, look for still 12th and 13th places, and Joseph Collado leads the Lamborghini Cup in the race. He'd like as many cars between him and his class rivals Les Semonin as possible, so that's exactly what he's trying to do, keep out his elbows, keep the traffic behind him. Sprinting now up towards turn 13, brakes hard, turns in, back on the power now as he comes out of the corner. But it's not enough to fend off Anthony Lambert, who goes through, and now Jack Butel has a go as well. Jack Butel is another of the Pro-Ams with Stephen Licorice. Next year things change a little in the Super Trofeo because they go with the FIA driver grading rather than their own driver grading system. So drivers that this year might have been in AM might find themselves unable so to be next year. So it will augment the FIA's driver grading system, which is having its annual convention this week to sort out driver gradings amongst other regulatory things. So there you've got 66. That now is the car of Josef Zaruba, and that's the race leader Loris Spinelli coming in the nick of time and sideways even into pit in. So much speed does he carry. 47 seconds are on the clock when he bailed. Down the pit road he comes, and Spinelli will give way now to Gerard van der Horst. Schlegelmilch will give way to Shota Abkazova on this lap, you would expect. On board the car. Gerard van der Horst, who has his own race team, he's got his own real estate business, and has been a mainstay of this championship for the last, what, 4 or 5 seasons or so. Multiple Lamborghini Cup champion is van der Horst. 16, 17 and 18 he won it. Couldn't win it this year, so he's elected to try something different for the world final purposes with Loris Spinelli. Spinelli, fastest lap of 1:42. We'll see what pace is offered up by van der Horst. Now, right now, the leading Pro is Jack Bartholomew, but he's being caught by Danny Cruz. Cruz is being caught by Di Folco. And Vito Postiglione is still a long way back. He is still 7th in class. Not his day, is it? Again, poor old Vito Postiglione. Doesn't make you wonder what he has to do in order to win this. Away goes 98 down the pit road. You're looking at car 12, Harold Schlegelmilch. There is Gerard van der Horst now into the fray. Race leader blasts back on track. Blends back in on the midpoint of turn 1, and there away goes Shota Abkazova down the pit lane. Abkazova with the car that's already won in his hands, the Pro-Am class. He missed 1 race, but Harold Schlegelmilch missed 2 weekends, 4 races, so he on a different number of points therefore. Now this is going to give, after the pit stops, an advantage to Andrzej Lewandowski. He's 21 seconds behind van der Horst now, and he's already up to speed. So by the end of the next lap, I reckon that Lewandowski is going to become a real factor, and he and Karol Bash, the 2 Polish drivers, could be on for a win. Now, Loris Spinelli did a really good job. Fastest man on the circuit, and he's with Marietta.
Loris, you're just flying out there this weekend.
Yeah, I'm very happy for my performance. It's a long time I don't drive this car, and wow, the Lamborghini is amazing, and this car is amazing. About my engineer Massimo. Yeah, I try to take a lot distance from me in second position because Karol is my competitor, and now I don't know. We keep pushing, and I hope the podium.
And how is it like to work with Gerard?
What?
How is it like to work with Gerard?
Yeah, Gerard is a person, a special person, and he's a really good driver. I learned from he, and Gerard learned from me. So we are a really good team, and I hope to finish very well this week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you too.
Now we've got pit stops being looked at, one of which is 88, Hans Fabry. Another is number 30, which is the now Anthony Lambert Lippert car. 24 is being looked at as well, which is Oliver Freimuth. And number 11, the Conrad car, now Axel Jeffries, being looked at for being short on the pit stops. But nothing, thankfully for them, for number 3, the champions-elect now, Krus and Afanasiev. Vito Postiglione is still the best part of a lap back from where he wants to be, so further proof of how much time was lost on that in-lap for the Italians. Vito Postiglione, but Kiko Galbiati, who was behind the wheel, and even though they were able to combine that with the pit stop for the tyre and the driver change, still lost them too much time. A safety car would help, but we're running out of time even for him then to get through the traffic. There is the race leader, Gerard van der Horst. Now, it was 21 seconds, remember. He's down to 13 already. So he's going to get caught by Lewandowski. But Jack Bartholomew is lapping quicker than the two ahead. So Bartholomew, 18 seconds in 16 minutes. Possible. Possible. So Loris Spinelli, the race leader in his stint. There is his car, Gerard van der Horst at the wheel of it. Gerard van der Horst stepping up to Pro-Am. There is the car that's doing the chasing, Andrzej Lewandowski. But Jack Bartholomew, who is behind, and now the penalties start to come. So 0.8 of a second is given to Axel Jeffries, number 11 at the end of the race, for being short on the pit stops. You can see how Lewandowski is pushing. Absolutely flying, isn't he, up the curb? So Lewandowski, who's been a regular Lamborghini AM competitor, sharing now with fellow Pole there, he is Karol Bash. And that gap is down to 7.3 seconds, but it's also first to third, 12 seconds. So it's game on here. The championship may be resolved now, seemingly for Danny Cruz and Sergio Afanasiev, but it's going to be a good end to the race with the top 3 all concertinaing. Number 24, which is Oliver Freimuth, gets a 0.966 second penalty at the end of the race for being short on the pit stop. But there, Andrzej Lewandowski hustling on. The gap was 7.3. It's coming down and down and down. 7.3, 6.1, 5.8. It's on this, and there is Jack Bartholomew, who is even honour, if that is such a phrase, because he is closing on both of the two ahead even more rapidly. So Jack Bartholomew running third, but he is 5, then 4.9, then 4.6 seconds back from Lewandowski. So they're closing all the while, the top 3. More penalties, I fear. Anthony Lambert's car and also Hans Fabry's car there. Number 3, Danny Cruz. Now, he is not lapping as quickly as Jack Bartholomew. And this is a champion's drive in a sense, because what he's doing is driving within himself. He's not going for the class win. He knows that by being ahead of Postiglione, that is the job done. And he can't be outscored by Bartholomew and Middleton. So Danny Cruz is just going about this in a very sensible, methodical way, keeping out of trouble, not stressing the car, not making mistakes, and coming through for the championship. Car number 26 goes through, that being the delayed car in the hands from earlier of the Semolans after its pit stop. It's 19th. There is equally delayed Vito Postiglione. Now Postiglione is almost up onto the back of Anthony Lambert, but he's still going to get past, and then there's an awful lot of work to do before he can get anywhere near another pro class car and take points away from it. Team manager of number 30 to go to race control immediately. Now number 30 was being looked at for its pit stop, and now the team manager is being... Team manager has to go and see Daniele Galbiati, the race director. So right now, Gerard van der Horst is only, you can see it, 3.2 seconds ahead of Andrzej Lewandowski. Well, it was 3.2 at the start of the lap. It's down to 1.7 in that last split. So Lewandowski's going to be in the lead very soon, but then Jack Bartholomew is going to go through as well, isn't he? Bartholomew is 6 seconds away from the leader. He's 3 seconds away from the second place car. So Gerard van der Horst will lose the lead of the race. He'll lose the lead of Pro-Am as well to Andrzej Lewandowski. There he is. Lewandowski rattles it over the curb. Where does he make the move? And is he going to get stuck so that Bartholomew's going to be up with them and able to strike imminently as well? Here they come now, up to turn 13. There's a look to the inside line, and through goes Andrzej Lewandowski into the lead of the race now. Lewandowski goes through, picks up P1 over the timing line and down to the first corner with, in second place, Gerard van der Horst, and then it's Jack Bartholomew third. 1.7 seconds covers the top three, so Bartholomew and Middleton could be on, should be on, looking at this, for the race win here. They're over a second a lap quicker than the Lewandowski-Bash car. Lewandowski and Karol Bash are after honours in Pro-Am. Well, they've got that, but an outright race win would be pretty popular as well. Look at the way that Jack Bartholomew now is caught right up onto the tail of van der Horst. Here's the replay of how the lead changed. Van der Horst giving racing room at the last corner, and through on the inside line goes the all-green Imperiale racing car. So about the only thing to cheer for Imperiale, with the championship dream going by the board, is a class win in the race. But let's see where Jack Bartholomew is in relation to them. He's up into second place, look in the background. So there, with 11 minutes on the clock still, Andrzej Lewandowski comes towards us. And in the pit lane, rather frustrated people in the Postiglione camp, but optimistic in the Bonaldi camp, because Bartholomew now is hunting down the race leader. Trouble is that now that he's been released, and there was a bit of time lost as he tried to find a way by, so Jack Bartholomew's gap has widened against this car, but I think it's all going to come down on the next lap when he's got clear real estate ahead of him. Through the chicane, the centre chicane, there comes Andrzej Lewandowski. And now the run up into the left-hander, turn 13. This will bring them round up towards the start and finish line now. So the leaders go by, a second and a half, 10 minutes remain. 1.5 is the gap. And getting a replay of how Stuart Middleton and Jack Bartholomew's car, Jack at the wheel of it, was able to make the move there, diving up on the inside into turn 5, easily done. It's Pro on, effectively, an AM, isn't it? From the Lamborghini Cup, stepping up to the Pro-Am class this weekend is Gerard van der Horst. So place changed, and now let's see what can be done as far as this car is concerned against the race leader. It is Andrzej Lewandowski up front, but you can see as he pushes on, goes a little bit wide up the curb, and hustling on behind him is the charging Jack Bartholomew. 1.5 becomes 1.3. Traffic in the way as well. Postiglione has got past Lombard, so he is now up into 6th in class. But I'm afraid that's still very much so what, as long as he's being outpaced by Danny Cruz. Right, there is Lewandowski trying to wriggle his way through the traffic. He gets past Oliver Freimuth successfully. Job done, place gained. And now all over the back of the back marker is Jack Bartholomew. Where does he make the move? Well, Freimuth makes it easy, gets out of the way. Proper gentleman racer that. Oliver Freimuth doesn't get in the way of the quicker car, moves out of harm's way, and so the gap is 9/10 of a second now. 9/10 between the top two, and 8.5 minutes still on the clock. Here, up through the turn 13 hairpin, comes the leading car of Lewandowski, Jack Bartholomew behind, and 1.5 a lap ago at this timing line. Goes up actually from where it was in the previous sector, so 9/10 up to 1.3. So Jack Bartholomew is almost within striking distance, but he's not quite there yet. 8 minutes now on the clock. Through he turns, and there is the number 6 Lewandowski race leading car. Through he powers. Jack Bartholomew 1.3 seconds adrift. Still the fastest lap of the race done by Loris Spinelli. Still the championship going to that team. Danny Cruz and Sergei Afanasiev. You've got a feel for Vito Postiglione. Denied again, it seems. Afanasiev and Krus heading for the championship. Danny Krus at the wheel of the car, wriggling his way now through the back markers, just put that lap on Oliver Freimuth, who is in 18th place overall. And there is the champion-elect in the pro class. So in his first season of racing Lamborghinis, Danny Krus going for a title. Here's the move against Oliver Freimuth, the back marker. But Danny Krus then Carter, single-seater gun, TCR driver, and then in his first season of Lamborghini racing, heading, it seems, for the championship. Others look on at the Bonaldi camp in the pit lane, but with 6 3/4 minutes to go there, barring a disaster, number 3 Danny Krus, Sergio Afanasiev heading for a title. That is a Bonaldi car, Bonaldi mainstays of this championship for many, many years. So into turn 1 goes Krus. The road just climbs up the hill a little bit at that point, over the brow, round the right-hand loop of turn 2, the Curva Michelin, whisper it, and then the Pirelli shod cars drop downhill through this 3-4 sequence, left and left again, then right at the Curva Cito Ponce. This is turn 5. Now there is the lead battle, 6/10 down to half a second, 6 minutes on the clock, so you can see that Jack Bartholomew is hustling. You can see how he's pushing against the Pro-Am car of Andrzej Lewandowski, but he's not there yet. He's not yet been able to find a way by. It is not for the want of trying, that is for sure. Now they come, together they run. And so, number 6, Andrzej Lewandowski leads the way, but only just 6/10 of a second at the last intermediate. Could we have a Pro-Am win? It has happened before in Super Trofeo Europe, but it was a strange safety car affected race at Spa 2 years ago. But it's, I would have thought, going to be very different if it can be done on proper race pace here. Lewandowski keeping Bartholomew at bay, if possible, for another 5 minutes. Here they come towards turn 13, the Curva Lorenzo once more. So Jack Bartholomew is almost there. Now where does he make the move? Let's see. Sprints his way up towards the timing line. Can't get close enough to challenge there, but 0.473 of a second, that's less than it has ever been. So through they turn, behind them, Danny Krus is still running in 3rd, being chased by Alberto Di Folco, and number 30 of Anthony Lombard is being given a 25-second penalty at the end of the race. 25 seconds, the penalty. Now that suggests it was not for a pit stop infringement, that, because normally if it's over a second, you just get a drive-through, but he's being given 25 seconds at the end of the race, possibly because it's now too late to serve a drive-through, I suppose, is another way of looking at it with 4 minutes to go. So there are the race leaders. Andrzej Lewandowski, who was Porsche champion in the GT3 Central European Cup many years ago, then came into Lamborghini Super Trofeo. He was the AM champion 17. He was in the International GT Open Championship last year. He leads Jack Bartholomew, but for how much longer? Together they run now out of turns 9 and 10. Nose to tail. There's going to be 2 more laps to run, I would offer you, as now Bartholomew pulls out and pulls back in again. Has a look to the inside line, but the Brit can't find a way past the Polish driver. Rides the curb out of the chicane now. Back on the power into turn 12. They will swoop. And is this going to be a chance for Jack Bartholomew now to line up to have a go into the hairpin and then perhaps attack on the way past the pits? He has a look, and drama, because off goes Lewandowski. Where's he ended up in all of that? Way off the road. Andrzej Lewandowski suddenly under braking. The car goes off the road and the Imperiale Racing entry flies across the gravel out of the race. So Jack Bartholomew takes over the lead. Now, was that another brake issue which we've had affecting a couple of Lippert cars, or was that a tyre that let go, or was that just an error on the part of Andrzej Lewandowski? Whatever it was, it's taken them out of the race. Here's the replay. It seemed to be that as he braked, the back of the car came round, but he was the car turned long before the corner look. It was late for a pit in, and it was way early to turn for the corner, so suggesting that something happened at the rear of the car and just fired Lewandowski off the road. So high drama, starting effectively the penultimate lap of the race. The car in the gravel at the last corner. There's your leader there, Jack Bartholomew, Stuart Middleton, on target for a third victory of the season, and in dramatic fashion too. One more lap to run at the end of this. It's also going to give Danny Cruz now second place, and Cruz, although I was saying earlier on he was driving well within himself, so he was, but he's actually closing on Jack Bartholomew. He's only 1.7 seconds back. Now, with a lap to go at the end of this, I don't think he's quite going to catch up in time, but all of a sudden, Danny Cruz is possibly thinking, well, hang on a minute, all of a sudden I'm second here. I could win the race as well as win the championship. Postiglione is down in 10th, and that's still 6th in class. The danger here for Postiglione is they lose second against Bartholomew and Middleton. We'll get back to the figures for that in due course, because they're heading up towards the turn 13 hairpin are the top two. And right now, looks as though it could be Danny Cruz with a lap to go. Where is he? 1.4 seconds back. No, he's going to lose too much time, isn't he, getting there past the traffic? So now he can again charge on in pursuit of the leader, but I don't think he's going to be able to catch up that gap in one more lap, and equally he does not need to. The championship is his. So there, down through the sweeps comes Danny Cruz, and he and Sergei Afanasiev, who made a new driver partnership this year, and a successful one at that, are on target for honours. Out of turn 5 he comes. Over the brow. So where to concentrate? A race win for Jack Bartholomew or Stuart Middleton, or the championship for Danny Cruz and Sergei Afanasiev? Into turn 6 goes Cruz. And you've got a feel also for Andrei Lewandowski, but just looked as though under braking, something happened to pitch him off the road like a brake grab, because it was just so early. A weird line for the corner there. So there is, on this final lap of the race, Alberto Di Folco. Now he, bear in mind, is lapping quicker than the two ahead of him. Di Folco up from the car's 6th row start, 11th on the grid, Davide Venditti at the start of the race, and he's 3rd now, as out of the chicane it is going to be a race win for Jack Bartholomew and Stuart Middleton. The car now powering its way up towards the timing line. There it is. So Jack Bartholomew, Stuart Middleton, the two British drivers for the Bonaldi team, are going to come through. It's going to be a 1-2 in the race for Bonaldi, but it's going to be a championship there in the background for Danny Cruz and Sergei Afanasiev as they take the checkered flag. Race win, Jack Bartholomew and Stuart Middleton. Championship win, Danny Cruz and Sergei Afanasiev. 3rd in the race, Alberto Di Folco and Davide Venditti. And the rest of the field will come pouring over the line in due course. But the punctured tyre for Kiko Galbiati changed the whole complexion of the championship showdown. There is Vito Postiglione, who must be on the brink of tears, I think, because yet again he is being denied the championship. And yet again he has come so close to doing it. So to the checkered flag, Vito Postiglione accelerates. He's going to finish in 9th place, which in the end is 5th in class. But it's not enough. Again, it's not enough. And you have to feel for the guy. That's now pretty much 4 years in a row where he has raced hard, come close to winning it, and being forced out at the end. Dennis Lind was the first man to vanquish him when Dennis won both the championship and the world final over the same weekend at Valencia. Then it was Loris Spinelli and Michael Grenier. Last year it was a championship at the end to Giacomo Altuve, and now lost again to Danny Cruz and Sergei Afanasiev. So the winning drivers, very happy in the case of Stuart Middleton and Jack Bartholomew, make their way to the pit lane. That's management team there, the Bonaldi squad ready to celebrate a win. And tomorrow's attention will turn to the World Final, where there will be standalone races for the AMS and the Lamborghini Cup class drivers. Very happy Stuart Middleton on the radio there, talking to Jack Bartholomew. And then, of course, separate races for the pros and the pro-am categories. You take the points from the 2 races of your class, add them together for the champions. So there is the car of Danny Cruz and Sergei Afanasiev, the champions, second in the race. But what a season, what a debut season in the championship. Down the pit road. Great race for Bernaldi, a 1-2 and a championship crown as well. Being delighted, Jack Bartholomew, and he gets out of the car. Danny Cruz and his family equally delighted that championship honours have gone their way. And standing in front of his car, Davide Venditti, third overall, with Alberto Di Falco set to join him. Danny Cruz, the champion. Stuart Middleton being congratulated on a race win with Jack Bartholomew. It'll be interesting to see where Stuart goes next, in fact, as well. And there is the champion, Danny Cruz, with Sergei Afanasiev. The Bernaldi team celebrate, and if Vito Posiglione looks at this, then the lump in his throat will get even bigger, because he could argue that should have been him. So near and again, yet so far. Well done, Danny Cruz, who is being ushered across for the photographs, and then we'll try and grab a word. Stuart Middleton leaps into Parc Fermé to go and join his co-driver. But it's one of those rare occasions where the race winners are almost ignored, because the champions are there, Danny Cruz and Sergei Afanasiev. Danny's not even yet been allowed to take off his crash helmet. The celebrations are so earnestly being conducted. So, Marietta is there. Let's hear from one without and one with a helmet.
So I'm with these guys who have every reason in the world to go crazy, because they just won the European title.
Yeah, it was amazing. We had to push on the guys, because we knew that we have to be or one position behind or ahead. So we were doing our best, and we made them to make a mistake. That's done. Thank you, guys.
Why did you give him that?
That is a kind of a lucky thing from Zandvoort, which we found there. So we keep it with us.
He's been pushing for you the whole race.
For all the year.
Let's see if we can grab your teammate. Is there a way that you can explain to me how you are feeling right now?
No, I mean, after qualifying it would be hard, but I could not imagine to be here as champion. I mean, we did the perfect job.
I could see how big, the hugs are with your teammate. You work really well together, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. We had a good relationship this year, good friends, so yeah, it was perfect.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Danny Cruz, Sergei Afanasiev, the new champions in Super Trofeo Europe. Now, what about the race winners? Jack Bartholomew and Stuart Middleton are in the throng of people, along with Jack's omnipresent mum and dad, big supporters of his racing. And Jack, I can see. Stuart has arrived on the scene now as well. So let's have a word then with our race winners, Marietta.
So guys, congratulations. You managed to finish this race exactly as you started in Silverstone, with a victory.
Yeah, it's amazing to win the last race of the season. You know, real confidence boost going into the World Finals. Just a shame we had a little tough patch in the middle of the year to obviously stop us ultimately challenging for the title. But amazing year. Stuart's done a brilliant job all year, and the team have done an amazing job too.
And how was it for you, Stuart?
Just awesome. It's been one heck of a year. I've absolutely loved every moment of it. You know, I mean, we've had, as Jack says, a lot of ups and downs, and just some tough patches, and we've managed to overcome them, and in the end we finished as we started. We won the first race, won the last race, so yeah, obviously it's really, really good going on to the World Finals with a win under our belts. You know, it gives us good confidence, so yeah, I think we're pretty confident, and we'll see what we can do. Yeah, been an awesome time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
There was a win at Spa as well in the summer, so a third win of the season to Jack Bartholomew and Stuart Middleton. A win in Pro-Am in the end. Gerard van der Horst, who got ahead on the corrected times because the penalty was given to Schlegelmilch and Abkazova, so Gerard van der Horst and Loris Spinelli winning Pro-Am. And third in the race, we need to hear from them next, because Alberto Di Falco and Davide Venditti are with Marietta.
Doesn't matter. I'm with Davide and Alberto, who finished on podium today, and who actually, you guys are having a very good weekend here in Valencia.
Yes, very, very good weekend, very good car. Thanks too much to my team Target Racing e soprattutto to Lamborghini Squadra Corse.
Yes, very happy because make double podium here in this very difficult track. It's important for me, for him, and also for all the team Target. So I'm very happy for them. Thank you very much for the amazing car. Also because in my stint I was more or less 1 second faster than the lead. So I'm very happy with the car, and I hope tomorrow for the World Final we can push us today.
So having demonstrated that you do have the pace on this track, what do you think you can achieve during the finals?
For sure in the final is another story because it's important to bring the car back home because a lot will be very hard because you play for the World Final in just in 2 races, so they will make a lot of mistakes. So it's not important to be very fast, but be concentrated and not make mistakes.
Yes, the important is focus on the race, on the finish the race. Now we have to go.
Thank you very much. Enjoy the podium.
So the drivers head to the podium. That will be our next focus. And a reminder that the live stream will cover the World Final races tomorrow and Sunday. 2 tomorrow, 2 on Sunday. So you need to be with us tomorrow for the first race, which is going to be for the AMS and the Lamborghini Cup drivers, and that will be at 3 o'clock local time, and it's approaching 6 o'clock local time now. Let's have a look then at the results of the final round of Super Trofeo Europe, won by Jack Bartholomew and Stuart Middleton from Danny Cruz and Sergio Afanasiev, the champions. Davide Venditti, Alberto Di Falco, third from Gerard van der Horst and Loris Spinelli. Shota Abkazova, Harold Schlegelmilk, fifth, and then Raffaele Giannoni, sixth, the winning AM from Nicola Gomar and Gilles Vanelay. Eighth, Josef Saruba and Jakob Noll from a very frustrated Vito Prosiglione, Kiko Galbiati. Top 10 rounded out by Alex Jeffries and Vincent Schwartz. Winning Lamborghini Cup driver, Joseph Collado in 12th place overall. 18th for the new champions, Benoit et François Semelin. And in the gravel, Karol Bash and Andrzej Lewandowski having been leading until the high drama right at the end of the race. So the podium is being made ready. We are almost good as well at the end of what's been a long day of action here at Jerez for our first visit to southern Spain for Lamborghini Super Trofeo World Finals. And they're in replay the moment at which it was a race win for Stuart Middleton and Jack Bartholomew, who was behind the wheel when he took the flag. So there, the winning car from the Bonaldi team, a 1-2 in the race. So a race win and a championship win all in the same 50 minutes. And the drivers next will turn their attention to the podium. In some cases, drown their sorrows and think about the world final. So now, as the drivers get ready, we will have the winners there very shortly. The car of Harold Schlegelmilk, you see, number 12, that has guided Shota Abkazova to the Pro-Am title this year. And behind it, 99, is the car of Robert Zwinger, who was third in the race in the AM Cup. So we're almost good to go, one hopes, from a race won by Jack Bartholomew and Stuart Middleton. It'll be the overall podium that we get to first up. So the drivers being called forward, and Federica Teneggia there, ready for the trophies to be presented. 2 in third place, Alberto Di Falco and Davide Venditti. For second place, the new champions, Danny Cruz and Sergei Afanasiev. And then the top step of the podium will go the way of Jack Bartholomew and Stuart Middleton. The 2 British drivers are there, and in a moment they will step forward in order to receive the plaudits as race winners here. Step forward, and then the national anthem will be played of the winning team. Stuart Middleton getting very Italian about this, conducting the team along. Member, as you see on his overalls, of the British Racing Drivers Club's Rising Stars programme to find young British talent. And Stuart Middleton and Jack Bartholomew, race winners, as their Federica Tineggi hands over the trophies to the third-placed Alberto Di Folco and Davide Vediti, there to Sergei Afanasiev and Danny Cruz. Second-place race trophies, champions trophies tomorrow night, and race winners trophies to Jack Bartholomew and Stuart Middleton here at Jerez. Well done to Stuart Middleton and to Jack Bartholomew. And their teams at ground level, including Raffaele Giammaria, former Porsche racer, part of the Lamborghini factory roster of drivers these days, who are all here to do VIP laps, even if they're not racing. From Pirelli, Ferruccio Pavesi has handed over the winner's trophy. They've now got the VIP laps happening on the track, so in the background there's noises off from more Lamborghinis. And the drivers celebrate then at the end of the pro podium here at Jerez. Champagne is ready, champagne set to be sprayed. And the Bonaldi team with a race win, a championship win and a 1-2 in this last round of the series as well is a very happy squad, and one that's prepared to get absolutely soaked with the fizz. So from Pro to Pro-Am, that will be next as the drivers are made ready. That for Bonaldi, the car that won at Silverstone in the opener, won at Spa in the summer, wins the final round of the championship and lays down a marker, doesn't it, as a possible car to win the world final, which is going to be so competitive because it's not just about the best in Europe. Obviously, it is about the best from the Asian and North American championships, all going head-to-head. That's what makes this weekend so special. You get a real indication of where the relative abilities and speeds of the drivers and the teams all fits in against one another. But for now, Bonaldi, Stuart Middleton, Jack Bartholomew are of the moment. So the next podium is being made ready, and that is going to be for the Pro-Ams, where we've had this amended result because of the penalty to Shota Abkhazova and Harold Schlegelmilch's car applied post-race. It was a penalty, if you remember, for being out of position at the start, so that car gets the penalty. So the win for Laura Spinelli and Gerard van der Horst. So drivers are set to step forward, and it means that for third place, it should be from number 77, the British drivers, Stephen Licorice and Jack Butel. There they are. For second spot, out comes the ever-smiling Shota Abkhazova and his co-driver Harold Schlegelmilch, who's having a kind of second career, really, in these GT-style cars, after being a single-seater driver for many, many years, the Latvian. And then for the top step as the class winners, Gerard van der Horst and Loris Spinelli. Gerard van der Horst's first weekend in Pro-Am, and it's going to be rounded out as a race winner in the championship. Let's see what develops for the world final. We haven't yet, of course, had the world final entry, but we look forward to that later on tonight. So well done to the Dutch team, Gerard van der Horst and Loris Spinelli, then the Pro-Am winners. And now the trophies are about to be brought forward. Pro-Am trophies presented there by Federica Tenegi, the Super Trofeo Europe and Middle East Series coordinator. And then Sharon Schlegelmilch, Shotab Kalsaba get their second placed trophies. And the class winners Loris Spinelli and Gerard van der Horst received their Shotab Kalsaba, who's been a real regular, great character of this championship for many, many seasons now. And Gerard van der Horst there, and returning Loris Spinelli. Been a very lucrative return, hasn't it? Bang, straight in for a win. Then from Ferruccio Pavesi of Pirelli Motorsports is the trophy to the winners, and applause for all of the drivers who will now get together on that top step. Very funky trophies that Lamborghini do with these gold, silver and bronze hurricane-shaped trophies. And so with the photographs done, Loris Spinelli says to Gerard van der Horst, right, now let's have some fun here, boss. And the champagne is sprayed on the Jerez podium at the end of this final round of the European Championship. So Loris Spinelli, Gerard van der Horst taking the title in the race, I should say, taking the honours. The championship to Shotab Kalsaba already really done by dint of his successes this season, being uncatchable in Pro-Am. Pro-Am done, and podium next. So third of the AMs, Robert Zwinger. Second of the AMs will be Gilles Vanelay and Nicolas Gomard. And then the AM victor, Raffaele Giannoni, steps forward for the podium. So there is Robert Zwinger, bouncing back quite literally from a big accident early on in the day. There, Gilles Vanelay and Nicolas Gomard and Raffaele Giannoni will step forward for the top step of the podium at the end of this final European race of the season. Raffaele Giannoni's first victory of the season, in fact. Second victory of the season, in fact. Complimenti Raffaele. Raffaele Giannoni then is the winner of the AM category, and once more Federica Tenegi steps forward to present the awards to Raffaele Giannoni, who we've not seen that much of over the course of the championship. He's ducked in and out this year. There are Nicolas Gomard and Gilles Vanelay taking third, and the AM championship for Nicolas Gomard. So he is crowned as the champion. Raffaele Giannoni receives the trophy from Pirelli. Handshakes all around, and Raffaele Giannoni then starts to celebrate. The trophies aloft, photographs all taken, champagne to be sprayed, and then the last podium will be underway for the Lamborghini Cup. And the winning drivers there, including the champions, the Semolans, will step forward in a moment. So Raffaele Giannoni, a very happy man, won at Misano early on in the season and victorious here as well. And unusually, he's taking his shades off for a moment. I don't often find that, but it's happened for a rare moment. So Raffaele Giannoni taking the win in that car run by the Automobili Tricolore team, another squad that you can trace the roots of in Lamborghini racing back many, many years, many, many seasons, and still successful with the tricolor across the front flank of the car there you see. And so the final podium is for the Lamborghini Cup drivers, and they will be ushered forward in a moment, where in third place will be Hans Fabri, who's been driving the Imperiale racing car, one of the few that got to the end, I think, in the end, wasn't it that? Second to Benoit and Francois Semolin, who take the championship, and then the top step of the podium will go the way of Joseph Collado. So he's come close, but not close enough to a championship, because honours will go to the Semolins. So Hans Fabri is on the podium. They're the Belgian brothers, the Semolins, Francois and Benoit, and then Joseph Collado has gone walkabout, but he should be for the top step of the podium. Now he's introduced, and he comes. So Joseph Collado for the top step of the podium as the winner in the race of the Lamborghini Cup. And now the national anthem will be played for the winning team, Joseph Collado for the French squad of AGS Events. Well done, Joseph Collado, then, who takes the plaudits in the Lamborghini Cup in race 2. And again, the trophies are being presented by Federica Teneggi, and then it will be Ferruccio Pavesi from Pirelli who will hand over the Pirelli trophy to the class winner. But a job well done, and also good to see Hans Fabri, the Dutch driver, on the podium too. It's been a challenging season on occasions for him. The Semolin brothers celebrate honours in the championship, even if the last race did not go their way. But it's been a very good season for the pair of them, who've come into the championship this year and have done so very successfully indeed. And Joseph Collado didn't rule him out being a AM Cup champion in the Lamborghini Cup champion in the World Final itself, actually, because he's got good pace, and when it's a standalone competition like that, it's not dependent on what you've done during the course of the season. It's just this weekend. Well, he's just had another victory, so he clearly is quick round here, and take that into competition tomorrow. Let's see what the result is going to be for Joseph Collado against Benoit and Francois Semolin, and of course Hans Fabri, who is there on the podium. But you've also got to factor into the Lamborghini Cup the drivers from Asia and the drivers from North America, and that's going to be a great battle tomorrow. Right then, that is a very full race day done here at Jerez. We thank you for your company today. We'll see you on the live stream tomorrow. For now, from David Anderson and Marietta Evans, it's goodbye. We'll see you tomorrow after we've had a look at some of the highlights of today at Jerez. See you tomorrow.